I want to encourage you to see the whole video here. I know it's a little longer and there's many things that's been said here, not only when it comes to my asylum case and why it was denied, but also when it comes to what is happening in America right now and how we see God's hand in all of this, because He's preparing us all for what is going to come in the future. So see the video. I think it's going to bless you and speak to you and encourage you in many ways. So God bless you. Bye-bye. Hey everyone out there, this is Torben Sondergaard. I'm doing this video to all of you from Mexico. And I want in this video to inform you that I have now been told that I have lost my asylum case. My asylum have been running in the federal court in America and they have denied me asylum. If this had happened a year ago, 2 years ago, I would say I've been very devastated. I would have been very shocked, surprised, but I'm not surprised now. Of course, we were hoping for something else, but it's not a surprise. And even it was denied, I truly see God's hand in it. And the war is not over yet. In many ways, it has just begun. And I want to use this video to share about what happened with my case, but also to encourage all of you. All of you have been praying for us and supporting this fight. Don't give up. Like God's hand have been all over this. Even it have been the enemy we have seen at work. God have used it in a mighty way to transform my life and many other people out there, and to prepare the church for what is coming. And I see God's hand in it. So first I want to share a little about my case, and then I want to talk more about that. I have a website called Torben Sondergaard, torbensondergaard.com. And there's a lot of videos and information and interviews when it comes to my case. And there's also a timeline where you can see all the events that happen. And just want to very short lead you through some of the things that have happened to give you an idea of this persecution. What happened was the timeline started in 2016. We gave out the movie The Last Reformation. There was a guy who worked with me who was creating a lot of problems, and we fired him. He had been attacking us since, and we changed all the codes on the server and website, all of this. We thought we changed it, but we did not change everyone. Short time after, our servers were deleted, our website was deleted, and a lot of work was destroyed. We managed to get most of it back, but it was an attack. Later, we had a lot of weird things happen in Denmark. The police came, have heard we had illegal people working with us, check all our passport, everything was good. The fire department came, the work union came, the health department came. We also have the tax system came later. They heard we have been cheating in tax and we have not been paying tax, and we had to send in all our papers. I think it was a few years back. Everything was good. Everything was fine. We have never done anything illegal. We have always paid our tax. We always done things correctly. But the persecution increased, and especially when they came to talk to my girls, it was very, very hard, especially because we were doing homeschooling, and that is not something that's very popular in Denmark. And they came again and again and again. And it was weird, everything that happened around our girls. And I knew something was off, it was not good. And then the Danish TV came after me. There was a guy who wrote an email to me in the same time who said, Torben, I will destroy you. I will get you to jail. And I have the email and everything here on the timeline on our website. You can go in and look. This guy who sent the email that I will destroy you, I will get you to jail, he was actually in the program himself. That was aired on national TV. He was there with a blurred face because he didn't want to reveal who he was. But he was also sponsoring some of the programs, because we had 2 undercover journalists who have been with us, who came to a meeting, pretended who was Christian, confessed Jesus as Lord, got baptized in water. But they were undercover journalists. It was all fake. It was all fake. And it shows a little of the lack of the fear of God, that people will confess Jesus as Lord and even get baptized to Him just for show. And those undercover journalists, they try to put things together and put me in a very bad light. For example, one of the girls, she wanted to talk to me, and we sat in a cafe, an open cafe with open doors, and people walked in and out. But that was not how she portrayed it. She got it to look like I sat alone, private with her behind closed doors. And it's just an example of the tryst and the manipulation they did the Danish TV. But the government in Denmark was involved with them. So after TV programs, the politician was standing in line to condemn me. They condemned me in the parliament. And they used those programs to change laws in Denmark and come out with a law that will make it very difficult for me to continue doing the work Christ have called me to in Denmark. But a lot of things happen in Denmark, and you can see it on the timeline again. There's videos, there's pictures, there's a lot of information there. But the persecution was very, very intense in Denmark, and I left Denmark to come into America. Not to seek asylum in the beginning. I came just to come away from what is happening in Denmark and just to breathe. And there I spoke with friends and lawyers, and different things happened, and they actually encouraged me to seek asylum. Also because the law was being passed in Denmark, is now passed. And a lot of things happened after I left Denmark, as you can see on the timeline. So I was seeking asylum, and one thing was interesting. My lawyer said to me, Torben, you have to seek asylum and have to send it in before your 90 days is over. Because when you come from Europe to America, as I did, you come in on something called a ESTA. It's a visa waiver where you can stay in America for 90 days, 3 months. And she said, Torben, if you don't send the papers in within those 3 months, you will be registered as somebody who overstay. And as an overstay, you has a good as lost your case. My lawyer told me that. So we were busy. We did all the papers, we sent it in, and we received the receipt from Homeland Security and something called I-797. I think I have it here, just to make sure. It is called, I-797. I received that on the 22nd of April. I received the receipt. And that made it possible for me to stay in America while my asylum case was running. And my 3 months period ended the 25th of April, 3 days later. So I sent it in. What I did not know that the same people who are persecuting me in Denmark was already involved with people in the government in America. Because what people did not tell me was that they actually canceled my ESTA already 1.5 months after I came into America. And they have used that against me to say that I overstayed my visa. And that was the main reason I've lost everything when it comes to my court case. First time my case was denied in the immigration court, the first thing they said is that Torben was an overstay. And now when it was denied in the federal court, the first thing they said was Torben have overstayed. I did not overstay. But they went in and cancelled my visa. But I never told that, and they don't want to tell us that. Why? Because that proved that I'm being persecuted. That proved that there is something about the persecution. Otherwise, they have not cancelled my visa. And Clay Higgins, a congressman, I have a letter from him here, from the Congress, United States. Clay Higgins, he's the congressman in Louisiana, 3rd District. And he's also the chairman who oversees Homeland Security and ICE, those people who detained me. And he sent a letter here where he writes very clear, Torben Sondergaard arrived in the United States January 26, 2019. He received the authorization to stay for 90 days under the visa waiver program. Before his visa elapsed, Torben submitted the application for asylum on April 19, and Homeland Security sent him the I-797 notice of action of April 22. And then, why was it then detained? And why did they say that I have overstayed? And he demands answers. What is happening, ICE? What is happening in the government in America? And I would like to know. I would also like to have answers for that. Because that was one main reason I lost my case. And I want to encourage people out there. Reach out to Clay Higgins. Clay Higgins, Louisiana 3rd District. Reach out to him and say, Clay Higgins, what is the answer? Because I haven't heard anything since about those Christians, about my asylum case. Because this proved that I was persecuted. But not only, and this is the shock, not only from people from Denmark and the government in Denmark. I was actually being persecuted from people who work with the government in America. And that led me to one of the most crazy things that happened, why I got detained and why I spent more than 1 year in jail. I have another paper here where we demand some answers. And I really also want to say to Clay Higgins, everyone, we need to look at it. Please, look at the officer who detained me. Because we here have a lot of information of the officer who detained me inside ICE. And it's really scary to read those papers. Our witness statements, for example, support that in September 22, that is 3 months after I was arrested, this officer had facilitated false information to law enforcement about me. What happened was he called a civilian on the outside, some of those who are doing the YouTube videos against me, and asked him to go to Homeland Security in North Carolina and falsely report me for human trafficking. And that was what happened. That was why it came up on my file suddenly, and I was involved with human trafficking. Where did those accusations came from? The guy who arrested me, the ICE officer who detained me. He was communicating with the people on the outside who was communicating with people in Denmark. And what happened? He used that to, first he make it happen, so it came on my file that I was now being investigated for human trafficking. And then he used that to set me up as a national security threat. And that was why I spent more than 1 year in jail, and I have no option to come out on a bond. I otherwise will have been out on a bond. I saw many other people came out of a bond, but I could not. Why? I am a national security threat. And it's in my files this day today that I am a national security threat. And that was why I spent more than a year in jail. One of the reasons, come on. I was first in a dorm with murders and people who have been in jail for 10, 15, 20 years. And then I was in another dorm, a dorm looked like the picture I put in here, with people who only was with ICE, with immigration. Those people, most of them was there 3-4 months. When I was deported, I've been there more than 13 months, 412 days. The one who had been there next longest had been there 5 months. So I was there more than double as long as anyone else. Why? Because I am a national security threat. And when I was deported, it was with handcuffs, 2 officers on each side, taking me in a car to a airport. And then they flew me first to JFK airport, where I met with the police. And there, when the plane was delayed, they put me in a holding cell, in the airport, waiting. And then they put me on the plane with 2 officers on each side, because I am a very dangerous person. I am national security threat. And I want to say, I am. Because this is not a physical war we are in. This is a spiritual war. We are not fighting against flesh and blood. And if we look at the enemy, he sees me as a national security threat in his kingdom. So, but it is shocking to be witness to still. And all the things I need to experience that year. We ask for answers. I have already lost my asylum case before I started. I know that. There's a lot of corruptions happening in America right now. Just look at the election, look at Donald Trump, look at everything that's happening. And if you then look at my case, one of the reasons they said I should not have asylum is that my son is still in Denmark and he's not being persecuted. That was a reason. It made no sense. It was not my son who had the police coming and fire department coming and work union coming and tax system coming. It was not my son who was on national TV every day. It was not my son who came to America and got his ESTA cancelled. It was not my son who got detained and put in jail and put up first they talk about weapons smuggling and then human trafficking. It was not my son who experienced any of those things. It was me. And then they use that as an example. For me, it just shows that I have lost my case even before I got started. I want to end up with talking about my case to say to everyone out there, even I lost, I don't believe it's over. I know God has the last word. And yes, I'm not coming in on getting asylum, but I believe that there's still more to say into this case. And I want to encourage everyone to send an email to Clay Higgins and say, don't forget Torben. What about the answer about why they put me in as an overstay and detained me? What about the ICE officer who lied to law enforcement, who facilitated the human trafficking thing, who put me up on a national threat? Why do I still have a file in Homeland Security that is so long with a lot of accusation? There never been any real investigation going on. I've never been charged for anything, and I've never been in front of a judge when it comes to all of those accusations. Why? Clay Higgins, if you see this video, I encourage you to keep looking into it, because we still believe in justice and hope that it's going to be a testimony of God's righteous judgment in the end. And I know it is going to be, if not in this side of eternity, then in the next. What now? What now? Yeah, what now? I want to say nothing is lost. Nothing is wasted. This truly changed my life. When I was in prison in the beginning, I was deeply depressed. It was truly hard. And I didn't see God anywhere in all of this. But as time went on, I saw revival in prison. Many people came to faith. People got healed, set free. I baptized people in my cell. Out of 25 inmates, I had Bible study with 22. We saw life change. So many stories of transformation happen in prison. But not only revival in the other people, I experienced revival in my life. I experienced a freedom. God revealed so many things to me when it comes to the gospel of the kingdom and the end times we are living in. I wrote 2 books in jail, and one of the books will probably come out in a few months. And all of this was needed in my life. I know many of you out there prayed for my release and fought for me coming out, and I also wanted to come out. But as time went on, I really saw God's hand in it. God had a purpose, and God had a plan, and God allowed it to happen because He was in control. And I don't want to do it again for sure, but I don't want to have been without. Because the revelation, the life, the freedom I experienced, and that had to do especially with the kingdom of God, the gospel of the kingdom. Jesus, the son of David, the son of Abraham, He's going to set up His kingdom here on earth as He had promised. And we are all heirs to all of this, us who finish and are victorious in the end. We will inherit all of this. We will be judged in the nation one day. We will see a new heaven and a new earth. And there's freedom. And in the beginning, I saw read in the Bible, how the apostle was persecuted and whipped, and I didn't feel joyful as they experienced the joy. I read about Paul and Silas in jail in Acts 16, how they're worshiping God. I did not understand, how can they praise God being in chains? And it took me 7-8 months to come to that point, but I came to that point where I could lay there in my cell, as you can see here, and then just praise God and rejoice for being born again, for being free. Even I was in chains, I was free because Jesus set me free. So I know God had a plan and a purpose with it. And out of this, 2 books is coming out. Out of this, I've done a new website, as you can see, torbensondergaard.com. And I feel God have called me in a kind of new ministry. I will still work with the last Reformation and the beautiful things God is doing there, but work with a new ministry to equip the church for what is coming. Because it started with the few, me, later it will be the many, but in the end it will be all of us who confess Jesus as Lord and Savior. Persecution are coming. And I know God allowed this to happen. Even I was in the hand of the enemy to show the world what is happening, to show that this is possible. Right now in America, the border is wide open. We have millions of illegal immigrants walking over the border into America. Many of them are criminals. Many of them break the law. I was in jail with many of those. While this is happening, me as an evangelical Christian who loves Jesus, who have never been charged for anything, detained for anything, never broken a law, I've kept the law, I paid my taxes, I've done what I should do while I was in America and even before I came to America. But they took me and put me in jail and then they deported me. It shows a little of the world we are living in right now. And Clay Higgins, he saw it and he actually stood up in the Congress in America and said that I was being persecuted by this sitting administration, and he believes it's because I'm an evangelical Christian. And I want you to see this clip. Here he also said I was detained for overstay, but you know that was the excuse they used because they just went in and canceled my papers. It's a way to get me. But look at this video and what he said here in the Congress.
And I also have a letter to enter to the record regarding the case of Mr. Torben Sondergaard, who is a legal immigrant from Denmark, came to our country legally, applied for asylum properly, had no criminal charges. He was arrested for overstay of his visa. He's been incarcerated in solitary confinement for over 1 year. He'd been persecuted by this administration and targeted, we believe, because he's an evangelical Christian minister. I'd like to enter this to the record without objection.
So here you can see it, and I'm honored for him. So pray for Clay Higgins, and I believe it's not over yet, and I believe and hope that there will still be investigation going on into my case and what happened. What now? I'm not coming back to America right now, not with asylum at least. What is happening? I know I'm supposed to be in Mexico right now. God even spoke to us about Mexico while I was in the States and put it in my heart. I know I'm the right place right now. I still believe there is a work that needs to be done in America. I still believe I will be back there one way or another because there is a work that needs to be done when it comes to the churches in America. But if it ends up that I will have not come back, and I will not come back, I will still be very, very thankful for those 3.5 years I had in America before I got detained. Try to think of the fruit God did. Try to think of the thousands of lives that was being changed. Of all the people who are in ministry today and keep serving God and bearing fruit. All of this, so many people who see this video, you are one of those who got your life transformed one way or another during those 3 years. And I want to encourage you out there, keep preaching the gospel, keep making disciples, keep being faithful to the call our Lord Jesus has given us. The time is short and we need to stand firm on the word. We need to be led by the Spirit, and it's not our will be done, but it's His will be done. And we need to serve Him and preach the gospel of the kingdom wherever we come. So I'm thankful for all the friends I met. I'm thankful for the fellowship. And if I'm not coming back, of course, I will miss you. And we are one body, even I'm there or not there. But let's wait and see what is happening. I think it is not, I know it's not finished yet. For all of you out there, visit torbensondergaard.com. Go in and see the timeline. You can see all the events. You can see videos. We give out a reveal series where you can see clips and interviews with people when it comes to my case. This is truly like an action movie. I've never experienced anything similar to this. But in all of it, God have his way. So God bless you. And of course, we are still a little shaky in all of this, but we have peace, we have comfort, and I'm excited for the future and what God is going to do. Visit torbensondergaard.com. There you can also support it. The work that's still ongoing, and you can also sign up for a newsletter because a lot of more things is being said in this. It's not over yet. So God bless you, and thank you for listening to this video. I know it was a little longer, and I really hope it encourages you. Stay strong. It's not our will, but his will. We need to just take up our cross and follow him. So God bless you. We love you guys, and a big heart from here. Bye-bye.